Hollywood was only a few miles from Encino, but in the early 1960s, those few miles made a considerable difference. On one side of the Santa Monica Mountains were studios, premieres, searchlights, and publicity agents. On the other side was the San Fernando Valley, lawns, schools, supermarkets, scout troops, and people trying to get home before the traffic became impossible. A surprising number of movie and television stars came over the hill with them. They lived in Encino because once upon a time, Encino was where people went to get away from Hollywood. And when they got there, they became neighbors. Every hometown has its prominent citizens. In some places, it might be the mayor, the banker, the newspaper publisher, or the man who owns the biggest automobile dealership in town. They sponsored the Little League team, handed out trophies, appeared at fundraisers, and were photographed for the local newspaper. Encino was no different, except that some of our prominent citizens happened to be movie stars. One of my classmates lived in Al Jolson's former home. Michael Landon handed out the trophies at a Boy Scout event to the winning scouts. My mother might come home from the grocery store and mention that she had run into Steve McQueen. Another day, it was Dick Van Dyke. She never treated them as especially remarkable. They needed groceries, so did she. That was Encino. And then there was the pancake breakfast at the Encino Community Center. It was not a Hollywood extravaganza. There were no searchlights, no velvet ropes, no screaming fans. There were perhaps a couple hundred people sitting at folding tables, drinking coffee and waiting for local volunteers to produce breakfast faster than the crowd could eat it. My father was one of those prominent Encino citizens. A PhD rocket scientist, he volunteered to serve on the board of the Encino Community Center. And when the annual pancake breakfast came around, he did what fathers in every town in America have always done. He volunteered his teenage son too. So there I was, wearing an apron, bussing tables, and carrying trays. One of the other volunteers was John Wayne. I was 13 or 14 years old. Now the grown-ups may have seen a prominent Encino citizen helping out at a community fundraiser. I saw something else. I saw the Ringo Kid. I saw Sergeant Stryker. And through the particular time and space distortion that memory applies after 60 years, I probably saw Rooster Cogburn too, even though true grit would not be made until later. Memories may be careless with dates. It is seldom confused about the Duke. And there he was, John Wayne, wearing an apron, cooking pancakes. The same man who had led cavalry charges, fought his way across the Pacific Islands, and settled the West, was now trying to keep breakfast from burning on an Encino griddle. Nearby, a photographer from the Valley News and Green Sheet was trying to get the picture. He had a camera, a box of flashbulbs, and considerably more enthusiasm than coordination. Bulbs were dropped, some were stepped on, the box wound up flattened on the ground, and still he had not taken the picture. John Wayne stood there, spatula in hand, waiting. And waiting. The next edition of the newspaper carried the photograph with this caption: "The Duke says it's great to be at the Encino Community Center pancake breakfast." That's what the newspaper said. What Duke actually said was, "Jesus Christ, take the goddamn picture." The Valley News and Green Sheet gave him better manners. I kept the original quotation. The photographer may have remembered it too, but for more than 60 years it has been a little secret shared by the Duke and me. Every hometown has prominent citizens who appeared at community events and turned up in the local newspaper. In Encino, ours sometimes happened to be movie stars. The newspaper got the photograph. I got the story.